Hello. So today we're going to talk about the DOM manipulation in JavaScript. So first of all, let's briefly understand what DOM is. So DOM manipulation in JavaScript refers to the process of interacting with and modifying the structure, the style, and the content of a web page using JavaScript. It allows developers to create dynamic and interactive web applications by dynamically changing the HTML and CSS of a web page from JavaScript. So the document object model essentially is a programming interface for web documents. It represents the structure of a document as a tree of objects. I think we have discussed that as well before. So it represents the structure of a document as a tree of objects, where each object corresponds to a part of the document, such as elements, attributes, and text. JavaScript can manipulate this tree structure, allowing developers to dynamically alter the content and appearance of a web page. Now let's talk about the common DOM manipulation techniques. First of all, like how do we select the elements? So we select the elements by using methods like getElementById, getElementByClassName, get query selector. They are used to access specific elements in the DOM. Now, how about modifying the element content? We can use the inner HTML property, or we can use the text content property to change the content of an element. Or we can change the styles by using the style property that allows modifying the inline styles of an element. We can also create new elements using the DOM manipulation techniques. Methods like create element and append child are used to dynamically create and add new elements to the DOM. We can also handle events. So event listeners like add event listener can be attached to elements to respond to user interactions. Now, what are the benefits of DOM manipulation? So the first one is the most common benefit is that it enables creating dynamic and interactive web pages. So your website does not remain static. Just like if you have simple HTML and CSS, then you got a static website. But after after using DOM manipulation, you can make it dynamic and interactive. Then it allows updating content without refreshing the entire page. It facilitates manipulating the layout and appearance of a web page, and it provides a way to respond to user actions and events. So this was a little bit of theory about the DOM. Now let's try it out. We talked a lot about the theory. Let's write some code. So I have this simple boilerplate. Let's have a little bit of HTML. Let me write some. So I have a div with the ID of main title. I think I should change it to H1. All right, so let's say welcome to DOM manipulation. Let's have a p tag as well. With a class of description. Let's say this is the paragraph that will be manipulated. And let's have a button too, so that we can add an event listener. I've named its ID as change text button. Let's keep it very descriptive. The name of the button is change text, which will basically change the text. Probably we can change the text of the P element or the H1 or anything by clicking on the button, by adding event listener to it, right? We're going to see it in a while. Let's have a simple div too, an empty div. And let's have a list as well so that we can add some elements to it. Item 1, item 2. Okay, I think this is pretty much it. I'm going to use the simple single document, single file. I'm going to write the JavaScript here. And let's add some styles too. I'm creating this class because I'm going to add this class to the HTML element from JavaScript. So we're going to add the class. So let's call it highlight. And it's nothing but a simple border. 12 pixel solid, and let's say red. All right. Now let's change the text content of this very first heading, which says welcome to DOM manipulation. So let's change this text content from JavaScript so that we can see like how can JavaScript add something to it. So first of all, we're going to get it using the document.getElementById by ID method. Get element by ID. We're going to get the main title dot text content, and let's say DOM manipulation tutorial. And there you go. So the actual content from HTML was welcome to DOM manipulation. I gave it an ID with the main title. And then I grabbed that ID here by using the document.getElementById method. And there's a property of text content where you can change the content of an HTML element. So I changed it to DOM manipulation tutorial, right? So we can change elements, change the text from JavaScript. There are different methods, by the way. There like get element by ID. There's query selector. There's get element by class names. But we usually use the get element by ID because it's usually faster. Because ID is unique, so it can just go and grab it very fastly. Okay. Let's now create a new development with some text content and append it to the body, right? So let's create some element which is not there in HTML, but we want to create from JavaScript. So let's say creating new element. So document dot, we have a method called create element. And I'm creating div. If you want to create P element, you can just write P here, or if you have H1, you can write H1, but let's now create a div. And I'm going to save it in a variable const new div. And now let's write some, because it's an empty div. So we're going to write some content. It's the AI tool is already giving me some content. Okay, new div.text content. This is a new div element. So this now this div is not empty anymore, but it has this content. This is a new div element, right? But the thing is, you cannot see it here. And that's because we have created the element, but we haven't appended it to the body of the HTML. So let's append it to the body. So we're going to use document dot body dot append child new div. So I have appended or added this new child, this new div to the body. And now you can see it here. This is a new div element. And you will also see it here, here. In the elements bar. So we have changed the text from JavaScript. We have created a new element, and you can create any element you would like. Now here I've used document.body because I wanted to append this child to the body. If you want to append it to some other element, then you can use that element instead of the document.body. All right. Okay, now what about removing some elements? So we have created an element, we have modified some content. Now, how to remove, if you want to remove some content, how would you do that? So removing some elements. Let's choose paragraph. So we have a paragraph already. This is a paragraph that will be manipulated, and we're going to remove it using JavaScript. So again, first of all, we are going to grab it from the HTML. This time, let's use query selector. So I've given it a class of description. You can grab the HTML elements using the ID or the class, right? Or you can have you can also grab it by the tag name as well. So for now, I have only ID in classes. If you have the ID, you can simply grab it by get element by ID. If you have a class, you can use a query selector. Now, query selector is kind of versatile. It can grab ID and it can grab class as well. So let's use the query selector. Query selector. Description. We can use dot remove here directly. But let's do it the other way. We are going to save it in a variable first. Let's call it const paragraph. And then we will do paragraph dot remove. And you can see that the text has been eliminated. So remove method removes the content or any element that you apply it on. So we have let's call this one modifying the content. So we now know how to modify the content, how to create new elements, how to remove the elements. Let's add one more. Let's now add event listener, like how to add an event listener. Now, first of all, what is an event? So this is a very fundamental concept in JavaScript, specifically in DOM manipulation. An event is an action or occurrence that happens in the browser, which can be triggered by user interactions or system actions. Events can include a variety of actions like clicking a button, moving the mouse over an element, pressing a key on the keyboard, submitting a form, resizing the browser window, or loading a web page. These are all the different variety of actions. Now, when an event occurs, the browser generates a signal, often referred to as firing the event, which can then be captured and responded to the JavaScript code. Events are crucial for creating dynamic and interactive user experiences on websites. Okay, that was all about event. Now, what is an event listener? Now, event listener is a function that waits for a specific event to occur. So like when an event occurs, like you click a button or move the mouse over an element or press a key on the keyboard. These are all the events. So when a specific event occurs, the event listener is that function that waits for that event to occur on a particular element. When the event occurs, the event listener executes a block of code, often referred to as an event handler. And this mechanism should allow developers to define how the application should respond to different user actions or system events. All right, let's now do it. Adding a click event listener. So first of all, let's get the button. Document dot get element by ID. The ID is I think change text button. Yes. Change text button. Now we'll say button dot add event listener. It takes two parameters. One is the event that you want to fire it on. So we say that when we click the button, then do something. So we want to use the click event. So when we click the button, it should do something, right? And then we're going to use the arrow function. It's a simple function, but that's a different way of writing it. And we are simply going to say, let's say we want to change the text content. So like when we click on this button, change text button, it should change this DOM manipulation tutorial text to some other thing. So let's keep it simple so that you can understand it better. Document dot get element by ID. Main title, which is the ID for the paragraph, the heading, dot text content equals to, let's say, text changed. Okay, now let's, when I click on this button, change text, it changes the text. All right, so that's the variety of things that you could do with DOM manipulation. There are a lot of other things that we're gonna see later on. This was a brief overview of DOM manipulation. I think it's pretty much it for now. Thank you very much.